Welcome back to Northeast Current. Our next subject is something that I strive for every day of my life. One laugh, at least. But is it just my philosophy on life? No, it's a professional improvisational company, and you know, I am being mocked. Can I just add, I am being mocked right now by my producer behind the camera. Doesn't happen too often.
What, it doesn't? I was going to say, how many shows happen where the producer does not mock you behind the camera?
Anyway, John Schugard, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Before we get off on quite a tangent about being mocked by my producer, one laugh at least. We've been introduced to them before here on the show, but now you've kind of got a little place of residence.
Got a steady gig for a while for the One Laugh at Least comedy troupe, which is great news.
Yeah.
Because it used to be, do a show, wait 3 years, do another show. But this is much better. This is every month, the last Friday of every month, at the Tudor bookstore. I'll let you do all that later.
Okay.
But once a month now we go down to the Tudor and we get to do a show. We're trying out new material all the time, experimenting with different improvs.
Now, you are a completely improvisational group.
No.
No.
We're not completely improvisation.
Okay. You're completely comedy.
We're completely comedy.
I knew you were completely something.
We're trying to be funny. That's,
okay.
that's the important thing. These shows at the Tudor start with not just a stand-up section, which we've always done, especially Chris O'Donnell, the founder of the group and the chief writer, he always does some stand-up. But now it's not just him. Now we start with an open mic segment where anybody who thinks they're funny can get up and try the material on the crowd. And Greg, of course, Greg Corin does some stand-up. I tried my hand at stand-up at the last show, which was quite the experience. People laughed.
It's harder than it looks, isn't it?
It's nerve-wracking. It can be very nerve-wracking. It's always more nerve-wracking when it's your own words.
Sure.
Stand-up, of course, always is. So you're like, gee, I hope I did something funny.
Yeah. At least when you have a script, if it's not funny, you can blame the author.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but it's you know, the old thing. You say, don't be worried about getting up in front of people. No one will laugh. And now that's what I'm afraid of. I want people to laugh. But after the stand-up, then there's always some sketch comedy. Chris O'Donnell is always writing new sketches, it seems, about current events. And for the Tudor shows, we do not a lot of sketches, just a couple, trying out some new things, and then we do improvisations. And that's the show.
What's involved in the improvisations? For those who don't know what it is, improvisation is essentially acting without a script.
Right.
Writing as you go.
And these are improvisational games, I guess is the best way to describe it. We get compared, and I don't want to say it's unfairly, because it's not, we get compared to Whose Line Is It Anyway? Whose Line Is It Anyway is nothing but improvisational games.
Right.
That's all they do on that show. We try not to do the same games that they do for, I think, obvious reasons.
Right. You don't want to look like a...
We're not just a cheap knockoff of them, you know. So we don't do the same improv games they do. We have a couple that we do all the time, things like a dating game where we'll have the audience pick a local celebrity and a national celebrity and an animal or a plant or something. And 3 of us will be the contestants. Each one of us will pick a celebrity or the plant and be that, and somebody else has to guess who we are based on our answers to their questions.
Okay.
We do that one. There's one called Emotions, where the audience gives 2 people a list of emotions. Then a scene will start. It's usually Greg and Siobhan doing the scene, and 2 other people in the group will just shout out the next emotion they have to act.
And they have to go into the emotion.
And they have to go right into it.
Okay.
We've done my personal favorite that I do with Greg and Jack Gibbons is called Sportscasters. The audience will pick an ordinary everyday event, and while Jack Gibbons mimes it, Greg and I act like sportscasters commenting on it. Oh, look at the way he reaches for that milk there, Joe. That's a professional. That's why they give him the big bucks, you know. And Jack, of course, who's doing the miming of it, is playing it up too.
Of course.
Things like, oh, let's see the instant replay on that. Reach for the milk. So we have a high old time doing these things.
What's interesting about improvisation, because I've done a lot of it, I've taught workshops in it, and one of the first things I always teach is it's not as easy as it looks, and there's actually rules that you have to follow.
It's more difficult than scripted in a couple ways. It's a whole mindset. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah.
You know, people say, oh, you're just doing an improv show. You don't need to rehearse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you do, because you have to get ready to think that way and think quickly and not let anything freeze you. I don't remember what the rules are myself.
The biggest that I always taught was don't contradict what someone's telling you.
Right.
Or you go into a Monty Python argument sketch.
Right, and you don't want that.
Yes, you do.
Well, sometimes. I'll concede the point and we'll move on.
No, you don't. Yes, you do. No, you don't. Exactly what could happen.
Or the bell goes off at the end of 5 minutes.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's the best thing. It's why improv is taught for actors all the time, is to
Mhm.
just get you used to paying attention to what's going on around you.
Right.
Because as you and I both know from our theatrical experience, things will go wrong. Not just might go wrong,
Mhm.
will go wrong.
Yes.
So the more improv you do, the better prepared you are as an actor for the inevitable catastrophe.
Exactly. And the more prepared you are even to do something like this,
Even something like this.
which is not quite as challenging, but
It's an improv in its own right.
right.
As we sit here and pretend that we're not on TV.
Yeah. that camera's not actually there.
There's no one looking at us, really.
And no one's mocking us from behind the camera.
No one's sitting at home going, look at those two. Who do they think they are being on TV?
Yeah, it's so. But back to the show itself. Now it's
Back to
happening
the
at the
show.
Tudor Bookstore in Kingston. It's at 651 Wyoming Avenue, and it's $5 to get in. Can you beat
$5,
that?
you can't beat
$5
it.
to get in. It's happening the last Friday of every month at 7:30 in the evening. For information, you can call 282-9697 or
288. That's an 8.
28. That is an 8, isn't it?
I hate to correct you on your own show.
That's quite
I
all
saw
right.
you yell at someone one time when I was on because you got her name wrong.
I did, and she corrected me, and it got ugly from there.
Things just degenerated, but it is 288.
The number is 288-9697. For more information, you can log on to onelaughatleast.com. You'll probably get at least one laugh just from logging onto the website. You know, I get too comfortable when I have theater people here, and that's how I end up making
I know.
mistakes. It's terrible. So some little old lady in Carbondale, whose number is 282-9697.
She's going to get all these calls
Yes,
about a comedy
yes.
group. Like, they're not here.
It's probably one of my relatives, too. That's the sad part. So how long is this going on? Is this an indefinite thing, or just in the summer?
It's at least for the next few months. There has
Okay.
there's been no end date set. I would imagine sooner or later we're all going to say, God, we're bored, and we
Yeah.
won't do it anymore. But
Well, the great thing about an improv show, too, is I could really go to every show every month
always
and
going to
see
be
a different show.
Always going to be different. And that's the other thing that I want to mention, because we've done it twice. We did it in January, we skipped February, and then we just did it in March. And there wasn't a lot of repeat business, not a lot of the same people. And I just want to remind everybody,
It's still there. And
it's well, not just that it's still there, it's a different show every time, because the stand-up routines will be different, the skits will be different,
and the improv is going
and
to
the
be
improv, of course, is different. But we're bringing out new skits for these shows. We have a pile of scripts this high. We can do a show every month and never do the same skit twice.
You can see them all at the Tudor Bookstore in Kingston the last Friday of every month. 288-9697 for more information. We're going to take a short break. When we return, some exciting business development happening in downtown Scranton.
More to come as Northeast Current continues after this. Stay tuned.